Hey everybody, how's it going? I'm Brent. This is not going to be a regular episode of my show. Just going to do a little quick rant or give some thoughts on the current uh, product of WWE, like the current state of it, the way things are going. Um, just name a few big wrestling topics and stuff that's going on the last couple weeks. And then I'm going to be doing the NXT review that was last night. Um, WWE always has to get one over on AEW or anybody else. They couldn't just wait and just put everything on Takeover. Even though they're doing a Takeover, they had to put in a regular NXT show. Uh, I'll talk about the show later on in the review. And I'll cover it. It was a good show, good at 6 out of 10. It was a good show. Uh, but yeah, what I just want to talk about as far as wrestling news and ran on WWE. Renee Young has announced that she's leaving WWE. I honestly am happy for her. I would like to see her go in AEW and maybe do some backstage work, interview work, help with the pay-per-views in some way or something like that. I don't think she will though. She could be, but I believe she'll probably go work for ESPN, maybe do some commentary, some reporting. Could see her being a sideline reporter. They say she loves her sports and really knowledgeable on sports. So I could see her really excelling and doing good at anything she does. And she is very pretty and has a likable personality. Um, I think she'll do good at whatever she'll be good at whatever she decides to do. I didn't mind her commentating in WWE. I thought it was pretty good. She shouldn't bother me. Um, so if she wants to commentate somewhere, it'd be fine with me. Yep. So we have that. Uh, Also, if you didn't know recently, as of a few days ago, uh, the incident happened with Sonya Deville. She apparently had looks like a real life stalker. He had been stalking her and following her around for years. Let me say 8 years or so, stalking her on social media. Uh, from what I gathered, the information that's come out, he drove 8 hours from South Carolina to Florida, uh, parked at a nearby church that was right near her house, walked left his car at the church, walked from the car all the way to her house in Florida, uh, stood there and waited several hours, actually stood in a vent and cut a hole open in the screen and sat there and listened to a phone call and all for at least 4 hours, I think they said. He'd had it planned for 8 months. Um, he waited till she went to sleep. She had a friend inside the house. I assumed it was her fiance, her girlfriend, but confirmed it was actually Mandy Rose, which would make sense. They have a big match coming up at SummerSlam this weekend. They've been having a really good rivalry on SmackDown over the last few months, in my opinion. I think Sonya's turned to a really good heel and showed a lot of personality. Her promos have been good and the matches have been good. And Mandy Rose always does a good job. I think they just had a really good rivalry. It should be a really good match. Uh, but anyway, um, the stalker waited till they went to sleep, till Sonya went to sleep. Um, he waited till it was quiet. He got all the way to the sliding door, and as soon as he opened the sliding door and walked in, stepped in the kitchen, uh, alarm went off. Sonya Deville heard the alarm, thought she heard it was somebody. She evidently walked to the kitchen, past the door, and saw him staring right at her. She was like 4 foot away from what I read the other day. She yelled at him, "Who are you and what are you doing here? What do you want?" And he just kept standing there staring at her. He had a knife. He had duct tape, um, mace, and zip ties. So She took off running. She took off running upstairs when Mandy Rose was out to spend the night sleeping. She was already asleep. Uh, Sonya Deville waked her up out of bed and said, "Mandy, somebody's in the house. We gotta go. We need to get out of here." They ran downstairs, went through the garage, raised the door up, got in Mandy's car, fled out of there, sped out of there, and called the cops. When the cops got there, the cops arrested him. He was still in the house. Yep. And he's already admitted to he was uh, going to kidnap and abduct Sonya Deville. Probably do more disturbing stuff. Uh, they discovered his Twitter page. You can go on his Twitter page to look if it's still there or not. But all his Twitter page was all of just all Sonya Deville stuff, just different stuff. Apparently, he was obsessed with her. He had a fascination with her. Uh, yep. So it could have been a whole lot worse. And I'm glad everybody's okay. And I'm glad, that he's put away. And I'm just glad everything's okay. So, yep, that's very scary. Just horrible. Yep. Now, before I go into the NXT review, I just want to talk a little bit about the way things are in WWE right now. In my opinion, this is the worst WWE has ever been. Uh, and it was really bad, getting really bad before the pandemic. But I think the pandemic has just really killed WWE. Um, as it has the whole wrestling business, really. Um, as a whole, I mean, it just wiped out indie wrestling, and it's just been terrible for wrestling. Uh, especially the whole world, but especially for wrestling, it's been terrible. Um, WWE Raw is awful. Has been awful for a long time. Seems like it gets worse every week. There's been a couple shows, a few months here and there. It'll be good. My personal opinion, but man, it was good for the most of them. Every week to week, I just hate the show and I watch them, but it's almost become a chore. And the one Monday night was one of the worst ones ever, in my opinion. Just terrible. It almost put me to sleep. I could have took a pair of pliers and took it to my ears and plied my eyes out. Excuse me. Took a pair of pliers to my ears instead of watching Raw. And I'd have been more happy. That's just how terrible I thought Monday night was. Uh, they put Bruce Pritchard in charge of Raw. Moved Paul Heyman out, but really and truly, Paul Heyman wasn't in charge of Raw. Vince just made that hire to get the fans off his back, try to get people back in his good graces. Same with Bischoff. Bischoff was never really running things, even though he's only there for 2 weeks, but he wasn't running things. So Raw, Bruce Pritchard, nobody was really running anything. Vince is the mastermind of everything. He gets the call and the final shots. He's actually wrote a lot of the scripts lately for Raw. Sometimes at the last minute, writers will have stuff written up, and instead he goes and destroys it and rewrites the whole show early in the morning for the night. So he writes a show in a few hours, and you can tell. I mean, they're just terrible. Raw Monday night, nothing major is happening. The Vince claimed in a conference call recently with investors that they had exciting new storylines prepared or coming in. A lot of new things are going to be happening, and they're going to get fans back as soon as possible, and everything's going to be good. The ratings are going to go back up. I think that's a lie. I think that's all a lie, and it's not true. I think he's blowing smoke. I think he's bluffing. I don't think the ideas he has are new or anything great or that could change things. I think it's just going to be worse. As long as he's there and involved, it's going to be worse. Um, they have talent there, producers. Shawn Michaels, I know he works with NXT a lot, I believe. Triple H is also big in NXT, and also, he works big a lot in the company. Stephanie McMahon, I think she does a good job as far as marketing and promotion and all that goes. I think she handles a lot of that. Um, I don't like Kevin Dunn as a producer. He just does a terrible job as a TV production. That's Vince's right hand man. Vince always makes terrible decisions. Bruce Pritchard's a popular name. He's been doing it a long time, but he's only just there to do whatever Vince says to do. and he pretty much just copies whatever Vince does. So putting him in place to run it all instead of Paul Heyman, they didn't even let Paul Heyman really do anything. Bruce Prichard would just carrying off and do what Vince McMahon would do, just copying Vince. And I mean, you can tell anybody that's been a fan of wrestling for years and years, have watched it since the '80s or even '90s, knows that the honest truth is WWE is just terrible. It's a terribly run company. They do a few good things. They're really good when it comes to special needs children, and they're good with kids and doing charities like breast cancer, autism, um, Make a Wish, helping kids with reading, giving school supplies to kids, giving kids meet and greets, special kids meet and greets, different things like that. They do a really good job at and excel at. But if you just want to base it off as just an actual wrestling show, it's terrible. Monday Night Raw, the I hate the whole production of it. I hate the presentation of it. It just looks terrible. Um, it's just so overproduced. Nothing makes sense. For one thing, it's too long. It's 3 hours long. Really, ever since they first started putting Raw to 3 hours, Raw's been downhill ever since. It should have never left 3 hours. Should have stayed at 2 hours. Um, Another thing about Raw is the storyline is awful. The writers are coming up with terrible storylines, and they're not letting the. It's been going on for years. They don't let the wrestlers be themselves cut their own promos. They have them recite this regurgitated, almost kid-like type of the way of speaking, and almost like robots or aliens. No normal human being talks like that in real life. The way some of the stuff they make them say in their promos, and you can tell it's just promos just terrible. Nothing makes sense. The promos a lot of times nothing makes sense. The storylines don't make sense. Uh, some of this new concept they brought in recently, this new I don't know what you call it, storyline or match type concept or whatever you want to call it. It's just to fill time for Raw Underground. I like Shane McMahon personally. I think he's very smart McMahon. He's always had a fascination with UFC. Wanted to buy the UFC years ago. Uh, so he wants to do this MMA Fight Club type of presentation, and I hate it. It shouldn't be on Raw. It shouldn't be on any wrestling show. Honestly, they should put it on their YouTube channel, and I think that'd be a lot better. Personally, uh, shouldn't be on a wrestling show, but it is, and the way they're doing it is terrible. Um, the whole Fight Club aspect, dark, kind of grungy, it could be cool if you do it right. Um, I like how they're having people all around the ring. That's kind of cool seeing the more deathmatch style of match, having the ring ropes, no ring ropes, even though it looks weird and odd, but it does kind of look cool. I like how the posts still there and the ring ropes ain't there. Uh, but the whole thing is just it's fake MMA. They're trying to be like UFC, but still do it fake. You can tell it's just fake. And they do too much camera cutting. And the very first week, they did too much camera shaking every 5 seconds. And they cut that out the second week. But still just terrible. The second week of it was better. The recent time they done the Raw Underground, but the first one was just awful. But it's still Raw Underground still sucks in my opinion. It's still terrible. Uh, there's no rhyme or reason to it. They still give you no reason to why it's actually taking place. Like, what does the winner have to gain from it? They haven't said. Uh, Apparently, anybody can just show up and just fight on it, and they don't have to necessarily be knocked out to win or bled bad or beat it up. It's just whenever Shane decides, oh, that's enough, and just calls it. Even when the guy's still clearly moving and still fighting on the ground, still being active. Uh, kind of dumb. I actually enjoyed the Dancing Girls the very first week. Even though it did look out of place when they had the light on them and it looked weird and stupid, it was still girls there. And they was pretty, uh, pretty nice dancing girls. I mean, and honestly, that's what made Raw Underground, in my opinion. I think it was the best thing. So they don't have the dancing girls anymore, so it looks even more dumb and stupid. Uh, just the whole way they do it and shoot it is just dumb. Uh, you can tell they're not really they're hitting, but they're not really hitting. They're doing a little like chain wrestling, a couple takedowns here and there, few mountain punches, but they're not really punching hard, not really trying. You can tell it's all a work. It's all a work. It's all fake. Uh, it's just not good. And they're trying to be realistic. They want to make it seem realistic, but it's just still just so fake look. It's just horrible. Uh, Now, it's just might be my opinion. It's a little bit long-winded. This is the way I would do it if I was going to do Raw Underground. I wouldn't have it, shot and have it in a separate location, all that mess. I would just have it a part of Raw uh, on the actual show. I would have Shane McMahon come out right at 10 o'clock, come out to the ring and say, uh, all right, you know what time it is. I'm Shane McMahon. It's time for Raw Underground. It's 10 o'clock. For the next hour until the end of Raw, Raw is over. It's official. Raw is officially now. Monday Night Raw is officially Raw Underground. For the last hour, for the rest of Raw, we're having Raw Underground. Uh, and what they should do is disassemble the ring. Take all the ropes out, leave the posts like they've been doing. Have people out, but I really would rather see the rest, especially the ones that use them, have them instead of all these scrubs you don't even know who they are. Put them at ringside like they were doing. Have them make noise. Have them beat. Yeah, like they was doing, like they do. That's fine. You can have that, but they should come up with a reason to make Raw Underground good. I mean, why should I care? Why is a person that wins Raw Underground what's important? What do they have to gain from? What do you gain from the whole thing? They should make it into a tournament. Uh, and the winner of the tournament, whoever the Raw Underground tournament winner is, in my opinion, to spice it up and make things interesting, enticing, they should have the winner of the Raw Underground tournament be able to challenge for a championship of his choosing from any three brands. And I just want to make this clear, just a little nitpick. A lot of people do it, and a lot of people have over the years, and I hate it. NXT, even though they say they're a separate brand and they're a separate brand, NXT is not a separate brand. It's WWE. It's still WWE. It should just be called WWE. It shouldn't be its own thing. Uh, they shouldn't try to always keep it separate from SmackDown and Raw. It's WWE. If you look at the logo, for God's sakes, I mean, it says you look at the logo, you look very close in the small X. Sometimes you can see the WWE logo. And a lot of times during the events, they have a WWE banner hanging down on it. And, it's WWE. Even though it's NXT, it's got an NXT name, but it's still WWE. Uh, no matter what anybody says, it's not its own brand. It's the same as Raw and SmackDown, just a lot better in my opinion. Yeah. So what I was saying about Raw Underground, you have the tournament winner of Raw Underground uh, pick a champion of his choosing to fight for a championship. But not only do you give him he can choose a championship of his choosing, his or her choosing. Now, of course, women, uh, you can only challenge for the women's titles and the women's tag team titles. You can't challenge for a men's title like the WWE Championship or the Undisputed Championship or the US or the Intercontinental. Uh, Technically, you can challenge for the 24/7 Championship, but they should get rid of that mess. I'll talk about that here again in a second. But, uh, all right, so as a guy, you can challenge for any title on SmackDown, Raw, or NXT. And women can challenge for any title on SmackDown, Raw, or NXT, besides the men's titles. Um, and not only can the tournament winner have the championship of the match they're choosing, but they get to pick the stipulation of the match. Um, so, like for example, they could say Keith Lee, for whatever reason, um, or Adam Cole could show up on Raw Underground, uh, do the tournament for a few weeks, however long it lasts. Have them just run through everybody, just beat the crap out of everybody, win the tournament, and Adam Cole or who did I say? Adam Cole or Keith Lee, for example, pick to choose. They say, I want to fight Drew McIntyre. I want a title match for the championship, and I want it to be a Falls Count Anywhere match. Anything goes. Hardcore match, Falls Count Anywhere, I Quit, First Blood, whatever. Uh, if you want to do like a whatever goes match, no holds barred, Falls Count Anywhere, Extreme Rules, whatever you want to call it, TLC, whatever you want to call it. If you want to do that kind of match, you could do have the people still at ring, still right around the ring the whole time during the title match, and you could have them holding weapons, uh, and have them toss and throw weapons to whoever in the ring that wants to use them, or they're gonna have the weapons in the ring, and the people can help at ringside can help go in the ring and help get whatever the wrestlers in the ring that they want to be used or want to use outside the ring, whatever, or just help them set up tables or whatever, just to wrestle one guy in the ring and go in the ring and get what they want, whatever. You could do that. You could show a lot of blood. Could bust open thumbtacks, tables. Uh, Go for a lot of dangerous table spots, sledgehammers, maybe a staple gun, trash can lid. You could do double teams. Have some of the wrestlers on the outside come in and help do double teams, and I mean, there's nothing, no rules, anything goes. Just do that. Um, you could still, in the match, any other Raw Underground matches, including the championship match, do your MMA type styles a little bit. Do your takedowns, do kicks, headshots, kicks, kick shots are illegal. I mean, or legal. Everything's legal. Shots to the nuts are legal. Low blows. Shots to the kidney, shots to the groin. Um, Takedowns illegal. Mounted punches illegal. Any submissions legal. Any type of choke, everything's legal pretty much. Um, what I would make clear is for all undergrounds, I would say the only thing is no pins. Pins are not allowed. You win by knocking out your opponent, or if the referee decides to stop it, he's had enough, stop it, or referee stoppage, or you get submitted or tap out, or if you say if you get put in a submission, you don't tap out, but you pass out, uh, and or even if you seem passed out and they do like the referee does like the arm raise, and after the third raise, you don't, when he goes to raise up, you don't show any fight or anything, you just he puts your arm back down, and that's the third time, and then the referee can call it. Uh, I think that's a whole lot more of a better way to run Raw Underground. And also, like I said, you can have all the strikes and all that, but it's still on a wrestling show. It's supposed to be a wrestling product, um, wrestling based. You can do the MMA stuff, but you should also add pro wrestling stuff in there as well. More of it, a lot more of it. Vertical suplexes, back body drops, atomic drops, uh, sidewalk slams, gut wrench suplexes. Um, you have the aprons and the post still there. You should be able to utilize the top apron, top post. I'm not going to say the rope because there ain't no ropes there because you take them out. You should be able to jump off top post and do splashes. Make it entertaining, make it different, make it wild. Give it some variety. Um, you know, uh, just make WWE Raw Underground make sense. You know. and make it realistic. And look, I know that WWE is PG and it's for kids, but gosh, my opinion, they need to stop that, and then make it more adult oriented and less kid friendly. But for this times right now, the way it's set up, and you could just have right before Raw Underground starts, you could have Shane McMahon point to the title and say, "Look, read out here's our disclaimer." Just put a big warning sign like you put warning. Warning: viewer discretion is advised. Raw Underground is about to start. Parents, you might want to watch this with your kids. You might see some blood, some guts, some hardcore stuff, some deathmatch type stuff that you might not want your kids seeing. It might be very violent. You might not want your kids to see this, the kids to see this. If so, you might want to put the kids to bed. We just want to give you a disclaimer and a heads up, let you know what you see might be rough. If you viewer discretion is advised, and it's you just put a disclaimer, just give them the heads up, just to let them know, give them the notion that what you're about to see is not going to be like a regular part of Raw. It's going to be different. It's going to be edgy. It's going to be, some would say, controversial, maybe violent. Uh, yeah. So, and that's my opinion. That's how I would fix uh, Raw Underground. I honestly think that's the only way they can make it work if they went that extreme and that far with it. They keep doing it the way they're doing it, it's just going to be getting terrible and get worse and worse. It was terrible sucked last week. Then Nia Jax had to come in there and I don't even know what she was really doing. It made no sense. So she came in there and came on there, "Ooh, I'm Nia Jax." That just really ruined it and made it even worse. She's terrible at everything. Everything she's on, she's terrible. Uh, she is a beautiful woman, but I just, besides, even though she's beautiful and looks pretty and all that, really, when she's fixed up, that's it. She can't act. She has no personality. She can't cut a promo. She can't wrestle. She's not athletic, in my opinion. She can't move. She's not fast. She's not very fluid in her movements. Um, she's very reckless. She enters a lot of the wrestlers very careless. Yeah, she's just terrible all around. She's terrible. Terrible. Charles Democracy. Terrible. Uh, yep, so that's how I'd fix Raw. That's how I would fix the Raw Underground. A couple more things I want to say quickly, and then I'll get on to the next review, and this will be done. I'll probably wrap this up shortly. Uh, the WWE is starting their Thunderdome experience starting Friday, and for the foreseeable future, it's supposedly having a big, huge light panel display, and it's going to have you sign up on their website, www.thunderdome.com. I tried to sign up, of course, it already closed down. Apparently, really fast, had so many people. Apparently, the rules are they suggest you wear your WWE attire, your shirts and stuff like that. Uh, and basically, I think there's having over hundreds of people on the video board at one time. It's going to be like a video chat, a live video feed, but no audio, so you can't talk. Well, what makes sense does that make? You just going to see faces and the crowd. It's just kind of dumb. You can't make any noise. They say if you do anything inappropriate or out of character of inappropriate of any kind, nudity, anything like that, WWE can kick you out right on the spot. That's dumb. Yeah, it's just stupid. Could be a cool idea that could work. Could be interesting. They could be a lot of cool ways they could do it. But knowing WWE, they'll do something wrong and they'll screw it up. They'll find a way to screw it, but they always do. Even when they have a good idea, something falls in their lap, they screw it up because they love to screw things up. Uh, and that's what they're best at. Yep. So that's the Thunderdome experience. Um, yep. I'm still gonna say this every once in a while. I want to talk about WWE. They need to get rid of this 24/7 title mess immediately. 24/7 title is garbage. It's always been garbage, even though I love R-Truth and parts of it was funny. They never should have made it a part of the actual show. They should have just done the one, kept it all on YouTube and put it on YouTube, and that would have been a lot more acceptable. But it's still terrible anyway, but still. And R-Truth, I'm not knocking R-Truth. I love R-Truth. I always have. He's a lot of talent. If you notice, they give him the title the most and all the time because the only one that can make it as entertaining as it is. Uh, but specifically when they had that Kyle Busch going Raw and win the title like that, Mark took out for roll that was completely ridiculous. That was just absolutely awful and embarrassing. WWE should all be ashamed of themselves. And I just want to say this. I know it's going to be stupid, but the people that know me know I'm a huge wrestling fan. I'm disabled. I honestly believe if I got some training and lose some weight and get in shape and got trained, that I could that I could win the 24/7 title on Raw and be the 24/7 champion. I mean, really. Come on, really. I mean, they say anybody can be it. I mean, that could happen. I mean, I could sneak in with a wrestler, sneak in as wearing a referee outfit, you know, sneak up on R-Truth, low blow him, hit him in the nuts, hit him with a chair, or just low blow him and roll him up, and uh, take off my referee shirt, give it to another referee, make them referee, and have them count one, two, three. Boom, I'm the 24/7 champion. Who's to say that's wrong? I mean, it's not, because it said anybody can be the every 24/7 championship at any time. So why not me? I think it's funny. I mean, they had Santa Claus win the daggone 24/7 title, and Kyle Busch, daggone race car driver. Really? Really? Terrible. So that's just my quick thoughts on 24/7 title. It's still garbage. They need to get rid of it immediately. And if they got rid of Raw Underground, I would like that too because it's just terrible. Um, so both of those, they just need to go. Got to go. Uh, Also, Raw needs to quit being 3 hours. It's put it back to 2 hours. And very quickly, I'm going to say before I do this NXT review, just very shortly, I have a few ways I think I could fix WWE if I was running it, which I'm not, of course. But if I was running it, a very couple few things that I would do, and I think it would really fix the overall product. Uh, Honestly, Raw has gotten so bad, it's a lost cause. Uh, Honestly, if I was Vince, I would shut down Raw. Shut down Raw. And then you ask, Brent, what would you do if you shut down Raw? Oh my God. Not the end of the world. Walsh has all the records, has the record of being the most watched, and the most episodic sitcom of all time, TV sitcom all time, Past the Gun Smoke and all that. A few years ago they showed the records on TV. Uh, so there's no harm, no foul in closing Raw. You shouldn't, WWE shouldn't feel defeated. They should act like we're just doing something else, something different. Time for a change. So you cancel Raw, shut it down. Everybody that was on Raw, you just moved them over to SmackDown. You have SmackDown being the one show a week on Friday nights on Fox. You combine the Raw and SmackDown roster together. You use both Raw and SmackDown roster on Raw on SmackDown. You leave SmackDown at 2 hours. You don't put it to 3. Whatever you do not put it at 3 hours. Whoever you don't use on SmackDown, put them in NXT. Use them Wednesday nights on NXT and USA. Uh, it, I would put it back to 1 hour and put it back on the network like it originally was. That's what made the NXT so good. And since they moved it to USA and tried to put AEW and put it to 2 hours, it just hadn't been the same. It's still good overall. It's still they have talent and they still do some good things. But the storylines, Vince has obviously got to hold the storylines and gotten a hold of it more since it got to USA, and you can tell it's not nearly as good. It's more sometimes there's no feeling into it, no sense of importance, like you want to see what happens next, or like you're excited to see what's going on. Uh, so that's another thing. But if you're going to keep NXT on USA, I would put it uh, at the very least, leave it at 2 hours, put it on USA, add the extra Raw people that's not been used on SmackDown, put them in NXT, have NXT feud with them, that bring in more fresh faces, more new people. And also expand the roster more, and you wouldn't have to have the same people every week on SmackDown, every week on NXT. You could do like in AEW does, which I like. Have people one week and not see them again for another week, and then have back another week after that, or whatever. And you could also WWE needs to quit having so many pay-per-views 3 and 4 times a week every month, like every 2 months, just ridiculous. They need to have longer weeks, and they had to have better builds for pay per view, had more excitement, and have you intrigued to see the pay per view. Make the pay per view feel more enticing and more be able to look forward to it. Um, Make it feel more big like a spectacle. Make it feel box office. Make it feel like attraction. Make it feel big. Uh, and another problem I think is very small that could really, really, really help fix WWE is that it's been like this for years. They have way too many titles. You don't need all of them titles. All you need needs to be one. First of all, needs to be one champion for everything. One WWE champion, World Heavyweight Champion, World Champion, WWE Champion. Have that title. Um, then have to have a second title, which is probably the second most important title. And needs to be back to being a really important title the way it was, but it was basically a mid card and a continental title. And then you can still have your U.S. title. Uh, have your men's tag team title. Do that. And then for the women, have one women's champion. Uh, and then you have your one women's champion on SmackDown. Your one uh, your one men's champion on SmackDown. Tag team champion. There should be no women's tag team division. Stupid. Uh, should be have a men's tag team winners, and it should just be one tag team champ, two tag team champions. Two belts to the tag team. It shouldn't be two separate tag teams have a title. It's stupid. Yeah, so that's what I would do. And whoever the champions are, they actually work on both brands. They defend their belts on SmackDown and on NXT, no matter who the champions are. And another thing, they need to get back to defending their titles more. Even NXT don't defend their titles for weeks. A person will win it, and he'll defend it like 5 or 6 weeks in a squash match. Later it's dumb. He only ever defends the title, and to defend their titles more and make all the titles seem more important. Even the WWE titles, even the U.S. titles, even the Intercontinentals, they need to have those more of an open challenge type feel like Cody does with the TNT title. They need to defend them all the time and just give more people opportunity just to, even if they retain them all the time and the title don't change hands all the time, which it usually don't. Just giving more people more opportunity and getting different faces on TV and different matches would be having different matches would be just really, I think, beneficial and really nice change of pace and a shot in the arm that WWE as a whole needs. So that's another thing I would do. Yeah. And also, real quick about the titles, NXT can still have the world champion and the North American champion and tag team championship and a women's title. And the NXT champion, if was to happen, they can defend those titles on SmackDown if they need to. They can do that. And, SmackDown can come to NXT and defend it on NXT, against the NXT opponent if they want to. So that's just my overall. And really quick, another thing about WWE I would change, which they never will, is the schedule. Their schedule is 365 days a year. You see numerous documentaries on Total Divas, stuff like that, stories, interviews with wrestlers that they're hardly ever home. A lot of us claim, even especially the big ones, like the real popular ones, get big pushes, claim they're only home maybe 2 days out of a year. Uh, that needs to change. They should be with their families more. Uh, Technically, they do 365 days a year, nonstop on the road. Need to say split that in half, split to about 120 days a year. Get Let them take time off. Let WWE have an off season. Uh, AEW is on a limited schedule, what I think is a whole lot better. And uh, also being on a limited schedule like AEW is, you have less injuries. Um, you got people that are injured, give them more time to heal. They would also get fans from souring on a lot of people. They get tired. You see Charlotte every week. Charlotte wins everything. Uh, Drew McIntyre's on every week. Uh, you know, Nia Jackson's on every week. God, I get tired of seeing her. Get tired of seeing Baron Corbin every week, which I do. Baron Corbin's awful. Shouldn't even be wrestling, but he should be fired. But anyway, uh, yes, but even Baron Corbin and Nia Jax need breaks. I just think if they went half schedule and they hadn't gave wrestlers more time off, it would also keep the fans more fresh and it wouldn't be overload. WWE but has way too many shows that do way too much, uh, way too many different things at one time, and it's like WWE overload. They don't need to do that much, and that's one why the WWE does to themselves. They put on too many events at times, and they're just terrible. They just overbook themselves on purpose because they want to. They don't have to. And they make it hard on themselves. I mean, it's their fault. Of course, still watching the video. I'm getting ready to do NXT review, so that's coming up right now. They were just my quick thoughts on how I would fix the WWE, and that's some of WWE's problems overall. I think if they was to do all these suggestions I mentioned, I think you could see the product improve a whole lot. I mean, just a lot. Uh, Also, another change I just thought of I would do real quickly is get rid of the writers. Let the WWE writers, maybe at least if you want Vince book and have Vince book, and then or Triple H book, and have him, decide what the matchups are going to be and the outcome. Then let the wrestlers come up with the storylines and write the promos and everything. That way, it'd be more realistic, and you really won't know what happened. It'll be all the wrestlers will be being themselves and organic and real, and I think it'd just be a whole lot better. All right, so that's my thoughts on how I would fix WWE. All right, now time for the NXT review. I'm going to be very quick because I know this video might be long. Hope people have stayed tuned and watched this with me, and I like this review so far. Sorry if I got on your nerves ranting. I just had to get my thoughts out there about WWE. Uh, all right, so this is the NXT episode before Takeover. WWE is having Takeover Saturday. Of course, AEW was having that big show Saturday night that they couldn't have Wednesday because of NBA playoffs. And WWE was also doing SummerSlam Sunday, and WWE was also doing SmackDown Friday night. So let's do a big weekend of wrestling pretty much on this weekend, starting Friday. Uh, so Takeover, I think, will be really good. This last Takeover, that In Your House, the premise was good, but it was really lacking and just felt off. Like I didn't care much about it. It was very bad. It's the worst thing that Still have ever done, and I was just very shocked at how bad it was. Yeah. So for last night's episode of NXT, I thought this was a good show, but it felt off. I don't know, something about it just felt weird. Felt like it didn't matter. Didn't feel like it was a lot. Felt like there wasn't no oomph to it. Just kind of, it's kind of dead. I don't know. I don't know if it's the way they had their presentations they made for USA, how the way they presented or what, but it felt off. But not necessarily bad. It was a good 6 out of 10. Uh, Not terrible bad. It was bad, but it wasn't, awful. It was just okay. Uh, First up, uh, we had Rhea Ripley and Shotzi Blackheart, and they team up and take on Robert Stonebridge and Aaliyah Mercedes. Thought this was a pretty good match. I like all four of these people. I even like Robert Stone, even though he doesn't play as good, does good as obnoxious, stupid manager. I think it's funny. This was a good match. Um, yeah, it was good. Ripley and Blackheart got their revenge. Uh, I like this part where Ruby Riot, Rhea Ripley power bombed Mercedes Martinez out on the floor, over the apron, out on the floor on the concrete. I thought it was really cool. Uh, yeah. Well, Sharky looked good, and they got a revenge win. Rhea got the revenge win. Uh, Isaiah Scott and Breezango had a match against Legado del Fantasma. This was pretty good for what it was. Always like seeing Swerve Scott kill shot. Lieutenant Wrestling, one of my favorites. One of my favorite wrestlers. He's very good in the ring. Very cool. I like him. He's good. Great talent. He should be given more of a big push. I've always been a fan of Bazongo personally, Fandango, and Tyler Breeze's singles wrestling. I always thought they had talent. I always thought they've been misused and underused. Uh, we also had a match, Finn Balor versus Velveteen Dream, and Johnny Gargano versus Ridge Holland. The Johnny Gargano match, Johnny Gargano always puts on the good matches. This one was just okay. It wasn't great, but none weren't terrible. But something about the whole match, the timing felt off. They actually showed the scary bump that people thought they was going to let, but they still left it in it. We had heard Johnny Gargano earlier in the week when they taped it, filmed it, had a scary bump during the match. It was very scary. I thought he broke his neck. Rich Holland did a power slam on him, on Johnny Gargano. Johnny Gargano, was coming in hot, coming off the ropes. Somebody on YouTube said Johnny messed up, but it looks like Holland messed up. I don't know who messed up, but it was a botch or what, but it's a timing issue. But Rich power slammed Johnny Gargano. When he power slammed him, he landed Johnny right on his neck. Johnny Gargano landed right on his neck. I mean, crushed it, folded him up like an accordion. I mean, it was awful, like a car wreck. I mean, just T-bone. I mean, just I mean, yeah, looked awful. Of course, Johnny sold it good and then did a super kick out of nowhere. I still think he was really hurt and really out of it. It was just terrible, horrible injury. I hope he's okay. Uh, love Johnny Gargano. He's my favorite NXT wrestler. Hope he's okay. So, yeah. Uh, now, the other match, of course, you said I had Finn Balor and Velveteen Dream. This was a good match. I was surprised at the end when Tim Thatcher come out and helped the Velveteen Dream interfere and help Velveteen Dream get the win. I was very shocked they let Velveteen Dream win, especially when he's been out so long, especially with the allegations against him. Triple H just come out and said they didn't find anything and that he wasn't pulled off of TV because of the allegations, because he was in a car wreck. They still haven't necessarily gave the evidence that they didn't find anything. Still haven't had their evidence or given their results of their investigation of Velveteen Dream. So naturally, a lot of fans are upset that Velveteen Dream's even back in NXT and wrestling on TV and getting this big push, especially that big push beating Finn Balor in this match. I think it's dumb to myself and a big mistake. I think they should obviously, truly, if unless WWE is just sweeping it over, they're just plain they don't care, just don't even bother to look. For them to even be back on TV, they must have really obviously found that Velveteen Dream, the allegations weren't true, or they didn't have enough evidence, they didn't have any evidence against him, or the evidence they did have was all fake by the accusers, the voice recordings and the pictures and all that. Uh, or he would not be on TV, and especially being a big match this Saturday, in my opinion. Uh, it's hard for me to believe somebody like that, even though they've done some shady stuff in the past. Apparently, watched Dark Side of the Ring. Vince McMahon done some shady stuff in the past, coming up some shady stuff. It's hard to believe, especially now in this day and age, that they would try to cover up or sweep under the rug or just let Velveteen Dream get by with his accusation he's accused of, the way people are now, and the way that stuff's investigated and so picked apart now, and the way people judge things and have opinion on things and think about things. I strongly believe if he didn't, there had to be enough to it that he'd been back on TV and be back with the company. Uh, they should just suck it up and just release their findings, evidence immediately. And if he has turned out to be a pedo, then he should be fired and banned permanently, and he should rot in jail for what he did. And he should be in trouble, and his wrestling career could be over. He shouldn't be allowed to wrestle anywhere again ever. He's accused of all this heinous stuff that he's been accused of. It's true, but you know we shall see. Uh, we also had the Adam Gargano and Undisputed Era segment. It was good. I mean, Adam Cole with the Undisputed Era against Pat McAfee. I brought up the match for Saturday. Pat McAfee cut a promo and I thought was good. Uh, I was been intrigued with this storyline and where this match is going to go, but I still wasn't not 100% sold and still necessarily like the fact that they're using Pat McAfee in a match with Adam Cole. I think it's dumb. I think it's silly. Pat McAfee, as far as I know, when he left football, he actually worked for WWE. He got hired by them, and I think he's still on the payroll and works for them, which a lot of people don't mention. So yeah, he's a big lifelong WWE fan. When he got signed by WWE to work for him, and now he was announcing and doing some like pre-shows for the pay-per-views and stuff. Uh, he said it was his dream to always be a wrestler and always work for WWE. That was his dream job, and he finally achieved it. So he's a huge wrestling fan. So honestly, if he was to have a good match against Adam Cole and his promo works good, he was to work on his character and work on his in ring. He was to really want to chance his career at this. He was to get signed for a country and get to wrestle in WWE. I think that'd be a good move, and I'd be happy to have him if he was to show he had talent and was worthy of opportunity. I think he should be given a chance. But this promo by Pat McAfee was good. He made the point, Pat McAfee was a Super Bowl champion punter for the Colts, played the Peyton Manning and all that. Uh, he did the thing with his foot like a punter does. I'm gonna punch you one time in the head and it's gonna be over. Like I knocked you out last week on NXT, so that's gonna be cool. It's kind of interesting to see where it goes. Stupid, yeah, it's stupid, and then kind of dumb. And he's Adam Cole feuding with him because Adam Cole is a superstar. He should be feuding with way better guys and having a lot better matches and being in better rivalries and having really good promo and just being really cocky and just being a really good heel like Adam Cole is, but he's also a good babyface. Adam Cole is a superstar. He's a total package. He's got the looks, everything. People say he's too short. Who cares? He's a great athlete, tough, athletic. Got the promo, got the smile, got the face, got the charisma, got the attitude, got the moves, got cool moves. He's got it all. Uh, yep. Uh, I'm gonna go through real quick, make sure there was something I didn't miss. That's right, I missed something. They had a women's match on NXT. Dakota Kai versus Jessie Kameen. I thought Dakota Kai looked excellent. She's beautiful as always. Always beautiful. I loved her when she was a babyface. I love her when she's a heel. I think she's even better heel than she was a babyface. And I'd love to see her get a title this weekend at Takeover, but I don't might not happen. But I would love to see her get the title. Uh, Thought I liked the way Kyle won. I liked how she lured uh, Io Shirai out in the audience. And then at Raquel Gonzalez, her partner came out and just, or her manager, whatever you want to call her, just beat the crap out of her and Kai and Shirai beat the crap out of her. I liked it. It was cool to see Raquel Gonzalez back. She's a beast of what she's done in the ring and what she's like, did her interviews and stuff and NXT so far. She's a beast. I like her and Kai together. Yeah. I like the end of the match. I like when Kai did her. It's like her version to go to sleep, but it's called the GTK. Instead of her doing the knee to the head, she does the whole foot to the head, the whole kick to the head, the go-to kick. I thought it's called go to Kai, but it's called go to kick. So I like that move. Yep. So I like that. Uh, Tegan Knox did a good promo backstage. Uh, Finn Balor did a good promo like he usually does. Um, just make sure I'm not missing anything here. All right. Yep. So that I covered all the matches. Uh, so you have the winner of the big match, qualified match, Velveteen Dream. Yep. So I'm sure that's very controversial. So we'll have to see what they come up with for Takeover. It should be good. I'm really looking forward to AEW show Saturday. I think it's going to be really good. I think SmackDown has a chance to be good Friday. Yep. And Sunday, I think SummerSlam might be good. Knowing it has a little bit of hype to it and kind of high expectations, it's probably going to be terrible. WWE's probably going to drop the ball for everything they've said they're going to do. But maybe they might surprise us. Who knows? So you just never know anymore. more than likely you just prepare for it to be bad and lower your expectations, and sometimes they'll be surprised and it'll be actually be good when they might actually do some things right. Yep. And also, I forgot to mention this earlier, really quick before I go. Let's finish my review. Really quick before I go, I just want to say that this whole new Retribution angle storyline is terrible. It needs to go. I had a feeling it was going to be bad. That very first time when they threw that mocktail cocktail at the generator and blew it up, that was stupid. Also, they're copying MLW. I had said this last week. MLW done it originally a few months ago with Contra Unit and George Samael, where they would do things like that. Well, they did the Fireball, but sorry, Impact of all places. Impact done the generator power losing angle like Retribution done. Impact done it a few months ago when I was watching it here and there just a little bit. Sammy Callahan after he feuded with Tessa Blanchard, and Tessa Blanchard had won the title, and they had the big match, and Tessa beat him, defending the belt. Sammy Callahan was gone for several months, and there was a guy interrupting Impact's broadcast and causing power glitches and power outages during the show for weeks. Come to find out, they flashed a symbol on the screen that was the symbol of that person. They had a hood on inside it, revealed itself to be Sammy Callahan. Sammy Callahan was the guy behind the glitches. So just like Antifa was doing all those power glitches and generators and ladies and gentlemen, Michael Cole, of course, we have a problem with our uh, power feeds off for the night, lights blinking throughout the show on SmackDown, and what's going on, and we don't know what's going on. That was an angle from TNA, from Impact. So, yeah. Then the next Retribution angle after that was the SmackDown where they ran in and terrorized and did the stupid thing with the chainsaw where they cut the ring down. It was stupid, hokey, but it was kind of interesting and cool at the same time. Kind of and chasing off the announcers. Cole and Corey Graves was funny. Uh, and beating up people in the crowd I thought was funny. So I thought it was interesting. It was good for what it was. It was decent, you know. It was still stupid, but it wasn't terrible. Uh, so the first angle that they done really quick was the Molotov fire angle. That was garbage, stupid, made no sense. I didn't mind. I liked the when they came on SmackDown and destroyed the ring with a chainsaw. I liked that. That was good. The next angle, the one they did on Raw the following week, where they threw something through a glass window and broke a window and just chanted "yeah" and "woo" like they really done something. That was just stupid and terrible. And they flipped the car over, or the car was already flipped before they got there. That was dumb. Woo, and just dumb. And then this most recent angle they done Monday night on Raw, where they opened up the show for Raw, and it showed him in the truck, in the TV truck, messing with the show, the producers, and taking the show, and we're taking over, and woo, chasing all the producers out, and the people running the TV truck with bats, and standing there making noise, and not even really doing anything in the truck, just banging on keys on the keyboard. That was completely stupid and terrible and just horrible. Stupid angle. So Retribution, like I figured it would be, is already ruined, so it's just dumb. Another thing they need to get rid of, like Raw Underground, and 24/7 Talk, another thing they need to get rid of, stupid. Uh, yep, so that's my end of my NXT review for this week, and the end of my end of the video as a whole this week is the end of it. I hope people have kept watching. I hope people like this video, and I will be trying to do a review of the AEW show Saturday night, and I'm going to definitely do NXT Takeover, and I'm going to probably do if I think it's a good show and if it's worth the time, I'm going to review SummerSlam too. But if it's not, if I don't think SummerSlam was that good, I won't review it. You'll also know why. So you'll know why if you don't see a review of SummerSlam. But you'll definitely see a review for AEW and NXT Takeover. All right, so everybody have a good night. Hope y'all are staying safe and healthy. See you again soon. Bye.